Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? The coronavirus will not stop us from creating content. It will not stop us from talking sports. And today I thought I had a very interesting topic, something that relates to the coronavirus and sports, but it's a different way to view it. And it comes down to NCAA athletes. And the NCAA, we all know it's a very flawed system. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry where players don't get paid, but the coaches are getting paid millions, and it brings in all this revenue, yet the players are playing for free. It doesn't make much sense at all. Here comes a weird event in life where sports shut down. Winter sports, they play 100% of the regular season. Here comes the playoffs, but we are canceling it. Do those seniors deserve to get that year back after playing 100% of the regular season? So they lose out on the conference tournament. They lose out on March Madness, which all of these athletes dream of. And it's not just basketball. It's college hockey as well, and it's other winter sports. College hockey has an NCAA tournament. They do the same exact system. So it's not just basketball. It's just the easiest example to use because people relate to that. It's a huge betting event. It's a huge event just for fans of basketball and not even fans of basketball. March Madness is a time where if you're just a casual sports person and you like having it on the TV, from Thursday to Sunday, the first weekend, you have all the games on, and it's an awesome time to kick back with family, to get the pizza going, order some wings, have some cold ones, get the Pepsi. That's right, I'm a Pepsi guy. Do not tell me that Coca-Cola is the way to go, or please don't listen to me again. I take that back. I still respect your opinion, but don't drink Coke. It's clearly Pepsi. Going back to the point, though, do they deserve to get their year back after completing 100% of the regular season? Then you look at players who play in the spring, lacrosse, baseball. They got about half of their season done before all of the schools said, listen, we're not doing this anymore. We're canceling. We got to figure this out. Coronavirus is serious. No more. Done. Nada. And from the surface level, it seems simple. Yes, give them another chance. They've worked so hard. They've dedicated their entire college career. Give the seniors another chance to make a run at it. It's not easy. It's not an easy situation. It's very sticky, actually. And let me be open about it. I don't care. I'm not going to have an outrage if they do it. I'm not going to have an outrage if they don't do it. To me, I don't have an emotional tie. I just want to give out my opinion, because my opinion is you can't. You can't give the seniors another year. What? Give them a redshirt year or make up a whole new rule because of how unique the coronavirus is? It's like, hey, this is a one-year thing. It's just temporary for this specific situation, and it'll never happen again unless something like this happens again, which I hope never does. What about the juniors? Do they lose a year? Do they now become seniors? What about the sophomores? Do they now become juniors? If you do it for one class, I would assume you have to do it for every class. So the freshmen stay freshmen, and the sophomores stay sophomores, and the juniors stay juniors, right? I mean, wouldn't that make the most sense? How else would you be able to do it? Then factor in, because the point of this is it's unfair. It's unfair for the seniors to lose out on March Madness, to lose out on the playoffs. What about the freshmen that were committed to Kansas, committed to Duke? And I guess maybe that's a bad example to use Duke and to use Kentucky and to use the programs that go one and done, because if you're a freshman and you're hopping into that new organization for your freshman year, you're realistically playing your 1 year and then you're moving on. So we'll take that out. Villanova, they're one of the teams that compete every single year, and Jay Wright has that 4-year system. There's plenty of schools that do the same thing. So take away the big ones. Take away the one and dones. We'll go with more of the schools that use 4 years, which most do. I mean, you're in that rare group of schools that do the one and dones. There's plenty that try to do it, but to actually land them, well, Coach Cal does that. Coach K does that. Bill Self can do that. What happens then? Now you're being unfair to that freshman. Does he have to decommit and go to another school? So it's not just unfair to the seniors. There's layers to this. Now you're talking about, will they graduate? So if they graduate, are they coming back? You're losing scholarships. Are you using your scholarship on that senior to come back over that freshman? What is that senior going to do if he graduates? Now, there's 1-year programs. Some school have a 5-year program where you get your bachelor's in 4 and you can get your master's in 5, or you can get another degree in 5. Well, if that's the case, okay. I mean, it's very situational and you need to dive into details in specific sports. But these players are going to have to get credits, and they're going to have to use these credits towards something. And if you think about seniors, right? And a lot of people want to use hey, they're going to the NBA. You got to give them that chance to make a run in the tournament so they can help get themselves in the NBA. If you are a senior at some of these schools, more times than not, you're probably not going to be a top pick in the draft. Sure, it can help you from going late second round to mid-second round, or mid-second round to the beginning of the second round, or maybe the beginning of the second round right into the bottom of the first, which is a significant difference. I'm not trying to sell you that it's not. I just don't know how much of an impact it would have on a senior that's now questioning if he wants to go back for another 5th year. You can throw out scenarios where guys are in the G League for 3 years, they get cut, they do this. I mean, we watch sports for how long now? We've watched sports for many, many years. There's always those miraculous stories where someone was homeless. He grew up here. He ended up working his way to get a scholarship. Then he became a top 10 pick in the draft, or he got picked last in the draft and he found a way to make it into the NBA and have a significant role. You can definitely roll off stories like that. More times than not, though, if you're questioning where you are going into March Madness and where am I going to get picked? Am I a late second round pick? You might have like a Carson Edwards type run with Purdue where your name gets put on the map more. More times than not, though, that is not the case. It makes more sense for the spring to be able to do this, to be able to give back your eligibility. It still gets tough. You're still answering the same questions that I'm asking now. What about the freshmen? The freshmen incoming. What about the sophomores that are there now? Are they now juniors? Do they stay sophomores? And what about all levels of sports? It's not just D1. You have D2. You have D3. And those schools, D2 gives out scholarships, I believe. D3 does not give out scholarships. What do you do then? You get the grants involved, but you're not giving academic scholarships, and it gets dicey. So I opened up the phone lines, the 24/7 anytime hotline. The phone number is 856-442-9805, and I really wanted to get some opinions on this because it is very interesting. Some people see it like I see it. It would be great in theory because you want to see these kids do it, but they played their full season. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Life sucks sometimes. Sometimes life is not fair. This is one of those moments where it's not fair. But a huge global issue is occurring, and you're going to have to just bite the bullet and move on. And that's just where it is, in my opinion. It gets too choppy. They literally played their entire season, their entire regular season. Now, do we question if the fall sports get to come back too? Sure, they played their regular season, and they even played some playoffs, and they found out the winners. But, I mean, they played their full season. Could the fall teams come back? Could the fall seniors come back? Why wouldn't they be able to? Because the seniors in college basketball and in college hockey, they played their full season out. The reason why it's understandable for the spring is their season got cut short without getting over a certain percentile. If they went 80% into the regular season, 90% into the regular season, I would think the same thing. I would question if it would be all right to bring them back for another season. Coaches are going to have to make big-time decisions for spring. Are they going to allow a sick freshman to walk away to bring back a senior to try and win a national championship? Think about the big programs. the big baseball programs. That's always what's sticking out to me with spring because I follow that more than I do lacrosse. But lacrosse, John Hopkins, you got Syracuse, you got Duke. I mean, I know of the bigger organizations or bigger schools, programs. Do you bring back that sixth senior and let that freshman walk away? Do you tell a sophomore, I don't want your scholarship anymore? Say there's a sophomore that hasn't been performing well, he hasn't been playing well. Hey, we're going to take away your scholarship. And now it gets really dicey when it comes to other people already involved on the roster that's not an incoming freshman and not a senior trying to come back. Let's start us off here.
What's up, bros? Haven't called in a while. It's been since the Giants, Ben McAdoo, decided to bench Eli Manning. So, yes, I'm calling from New York, way behind enemy lines. Just thought I'd phone in here and voice my opinion about what are we doing here with the NCAA athletes that don't get to finish their season. I'm a big hockey guy, so I'm biased towards hockey, and even having said that, I think, unfortunately, the winter sports take the brunt of this one, and it's just going to be too messy for that to happen with winter sports, for them to get another year of eligibility. I think about hockey, you're going to have, it's pretty unique in what guys do before college, and you're going to have guys that are, aging out of their junior leagues who are already committed to come into these programs, and then, if you've got 3-4 seniors that decide to take the opportunity to come back, and give this another run, then that gets pretty messy in terms of recruiting and scholarships. So, I won't really speak too much towards basketball because I'm not a big basketball guy. I don't really know how all that goes, but I will say that I think the spring sports, having really not played, most of their season, with basketball and hockey, these guys have played 98% of their season already. It's brutal and it sucks that it's got to come now that, they're gearing up, playing their conference tournaments to go to, the big dance.
I think you nailed it. I think we're on the exact same page. And something came to mind when I was listening, when you specifically brought up that you're not a big basketball guy. But there's plenty of seniors, and this is where it's kind of hard to really justify the seniors coming back. There's plenty of seniors who were on teams that did not have a chance of making the tournament. They didn't have a chance. Sure, the conference tournament didn't play out, but there are some teams in the Big Ten, in the Pac-12, that just don't have a chance. They don't have a chance. Do those seniors get to come back? The reason why the conversation is happening is because why? Because it's unfair for the seniors who didn't get to play in March Madness to play in the tournament. Well, what about the seniors that wouldn't even have a lick of a chance to make the tournament? A 0.005% chance for that team to win out the conference tournament and make a run. Do they get to come back and try it again? They just get a random second chance, even though they didn't have it for what? For another 0.0003% chance again? Like another brutal chance again? I don't know. It's very weird to me. That's all. It's weird.
Hello, Hunter, and a happy Corona Mania to you and to all the listeners out there during these fun-filled times. Reading your Twitter question about the seniors getting a red shirt so they can come back and play next year. I mean, I think about college basketball especially. Look, if you're a senior, chances are you're not making the NBA. I mean, most of these guys are one and done now. So if you're playing through your senior year, you're playing for the love of the game. And to not have a chance to win a national championship and maybe never to play basketball again, I mean, that's a bitter pill to swallow for those guys. I don't know how you go about executing the plan, but I think there needs to be a way. So on that note, let's all sip our Coronas and wear our hazmat suits and live it up.
It's funny, one thing you mentioned, that my mind goes that way too. When we talk about this, we talk about a chance to win a national championship. So we think of the Dukes, we think of the Kentuckys, we think of these big-time schools But there's so many seniors that play in so many tiny, tiny schools. Ball States, Indiana States, the Sun Belt Conference. There's so many other scenarios that are occurring that we instantly think of Kansas, Duke. I would say North Carolina, not so much this regular season, but hey, who knows? They could have made some upsets happen late. We think of big-time Syracuse. We think of Baylor. We think of Gonzaga. We think of teams like that, Villanova. But there's so many other tiny little spots out there where this would play way more of a different effect, I think, and naturally, which, listen, it is natural because that's what we think about when we think of big-time college basketball. We think of the Power 5 conferences. We think of the Big 12. We think of West Virginia. We think of those teams. We don't really process those tinier conferences where these seniors are playing. And unfortunately, they're just getting the short end of the stick, and there's really not much to do about it. I think that they are working around it. I think they're trying to find a way because this is such a really different situation that will probably not happen again. I really hope not. Maybe it will one more time in our lives. So because it is just so out there, they're trying to think of the best way to make this work, and they are trying to. Now, the NCAA, they are a very bad organization, and you have the NCAA people, then you have the Power 5 conference commissioners, and then you have the other commissioners. It's a weird pyramid of people, and they never seem to be on the same page ever. And that's why I think they're somehow going to butcher this. I'm already shocked that they found a way to make it work for spring. So that's the only reason why I feel optimistic about winter sports. And because when it comes down to money, listen, I guess that's really what it comes down to at the same time. It's come down to this. So because of canceling March Madness, is there a way that them finding ways to make this work, and CBS, I don't know. Maybe that doesn't work. I'm thinking off the top of my head here when it comes to CBS losing out all that money when it comes to the broadcast for March Madness and the conference tournaments. If they work ways around keeping some of these players here, that probably wouldn't really correlate now that I'm trying to really grasp it. That probably doesn't make much sense, but hey, maybe the storylines of, wow, he's returning for his 5th year. Wow, this guy's returning for his 5th year. It sparks up some hype around some of these broadcasts when they come back.
Bros, what's good? It's RB. How you doing, my guy? I thought you came up with a great question in terms of, should these seniors get another year of eligibility? And in my personal opinion, I do believe that just seniors should get a chance to come back and do it once again with another year of eligibility. Now, what I will say, I'm not trying to exclude the younger guys, but they will be back. They have a chance to come back. I think that overall, when this virus is cleared up or whatever happens in a few months or whenever, I think all the dudes should come together. They should organize maybe some kind of mini tournament. I don't know, something like that, to allow these players to be able to show off their talents in kind of like a showcase. I know they got the NBA Combine, and now they have the rule where you can hire an agent and still come back. But let's be real, some of these guys' careers are made in the March Madness tournament. Some guys who could be adequate and just average come out and just go crazy and, lead their team to the Final Four, to championship, and their draft stock rises. So the worst part about it is that some teams are going to be broken up. Some of these top dudes are not going to come back. It's already obvious. And, a team might be hurt by that. They might not have that chance to get back next year. But I think all these guys should have a free chance at, whatever they want to do and still be able to come back. I'm talking about seniors here. And I think juniors and sophomores, if they're good enough, they should be able to go to the combine as well and come back without anything being, in jeopardy. And overall, I think these seniors, as, they come back and, some of them are going to come back, they're not going to want to go to the draft. I think whether it's a stipend, whether it's reimbursement of tuition, give these kids what they need. Some of their careers are obviously going to be hurt by this. If they're going to have another chance at it, give them everything. Don't let them stress about anything at all.
I think you're on to something. I think you're on to something with when this is all over, when the coronavirus is done, and we know at this point March Madness is canceled and college athletics, it's canceled. Can they make their own tournament? Can they find ways to have a very cool scenario where they make their own bracket, they have them played at these different gyms, and scouts come and watch? It's not the March Madness tournament. It's not the same thing. It's just, that's done with. It is not an event anymore, but there is a way to make their own bracket, their own situation where teams match up against each other. Players, it wouldn't even really be Baylor versus Kansas or Duke versus Virginia. It would be like a pickup style play, but it would be real. It would be legit. It would be like, hey, you're at the court. I'm going to bring this guy, this guy, this guy, and they make their own teams, but it's the seniors playing it. It's sort of like a senior game, and scouts go to watch, and they can televise it. ESPN would have it. That would be crazy. Now, when the NHL comes back, NBA comes back, and these other sports come back, those broadcasts might interfere. I'm sure they could find a way, and I bet you people could bet on this because sports betting has taken a big dip. It's taken a big fall because there's nothing to bet on except for these very extreme different sports that are so out there that no one would ever look at or even know what's going on. They're just so addicted to betting. They find ways to bet on literally anything. People would bet on that. People would absolutely bet on all the seniors that are playing in this tournament that they made themselves after the coronavirus. Oh, man. After the coronavirus went, I wouldn't say away because I don't know if it's ever really going to go away, but when sports comes back, now I'm just trying to think about how that would turn out, and I'm so intrigued. Maybe we should write a letter to the NCAA or something and say, listen, you guys should do this, and, maybe we can get a percentage out of it. I don't know, RB, I'll split it with you. You came up with the idea. I'm just running with it in my head. That's all.
Hey, bros. 3 players as they deserve, a full season. And I think NCAA made the right decision giving them an extra year eligibility. Now, winner, I think giving winner would be kind of too early. I mean, we got to see how this whole Corona thing plays out. Because if there's a possibility, if we can contain it and play in about 3 weeks, would teams rather do that than giving their players another year eligibility? Because giving these players eligibility, you get the big problem of scholarships. Now you have incoming freshmen coming in next year to these teams, as well as you're returning a class of super seniors that should all be on scholarship, and now there's going to be a lot of behind-the-work paperwork that needs to be done.
You nailed the scholarship problem. That is a big concern for these schools, bringing in the next set of people, but you want to bring back maybe a senior. I don't know if it has officially been ruled for the rest of the season. There will be no more athletics for the rest of the season no matter what. I don't know if the full hammer came down on that or if it's just, hey, for right now, there's no more athletics for right now. So it might actually be confirmed that, listen, it's just done for the year. It is what it is. I know for a fact that schools are going that way when it comes to classes. So, hey, everything's online. We're doing everything online. We're going to have conference calls online. No more face-to-face interaction when it comes to professors or doctors and students. But for sports, I'm not 100% sure if the full hammer came down that it will not return this season no matter what. So that would interfere with your position on, hey, maybe they wait 3 weeks and play. Maybe these seniors and these baseball programs, these lacrosse programs come back. From my knowledge, I believe, but I'm not 100%, that all the seasons are confirmed done. So that would be a totally different situation.
Hey, I like the idea of I like that idea of giving seniors another chance and maybe giving juniors an extra year, but the real question is, what do you do about the learning side of college? Because what all the colleges and universities shutting down because of the coronavirus, all the students are basically taking their courses online. And if you give those seniors another year, are they technically going to have classes? Are they just going to focus on playing basketball? It's there's the question right there, because you just can't halt learning for the rest of the semester either. Or it's a confusing topic, honestly. Do you give them another year, or do you continue to have them learn the rest of their senior semester, or do you just have them play and not learn anything for next year since they technically graduated, I guess? I'm not sure. That's a weird thing. So thank you for taking the call.
So you go the academic approach, and that is definitely a problem. Are they still going to, I mean, they have to be eligible to play, you need to have a certain amount of credit. So they will have to take courses. Now it comes back to specific individual scenarios. Hey, how many credits do you have? What do you need to graduate? Can you get your master's? Now it dives into individual scenarios of what do you need? What do you need to get your bachelor's degree? What do you need to do this? How many credits do you need here? Can you take this class? Do you want to, I don't know. It would really have to be a totally different conversation with an academic advisor to figure out the school part, but you would have to go to school. There's no way you can't go to school and just play baseball or basketball. It comes down to they have to be taking a specific amount of credits, and that's what it is.
Hey, bro, this is about the NCAA winter sports eligibility, and I totally agree with you on this one. What you put out on Twitter, that video on podcast about it, but on Twitter you talked about how, like sometimes a bear, and, this is just a tough break for you guys. I totally agree. You played your regular season. You're lucky enough to make the NCAA tournament, March Madness, and, for the other sports, their NCAA tournament. But the point of the matter is, it is what it is. Coronavirus is going to be a thing that we'll remember forever. And sadly, I think that these guys are just going to have to call it a career, to these like fourth, fifth year seniors that aren't going to make it to the professionals. That's what my opinion on it is. Thanks for taking the call.
Absolutely. Thank you for making it. So, if you asked me a week ago, I probably would have said there's no way to reward these players. It's just too much. It's too sticky of a situation. There's so many moving parts. It's going to be very difficult. Now I see them doing it with the spring semester, and I'm starting to question, are they going to try and make this happen? Because so many people are upset about it. The coaches might have impact on it. You have Jay Wright. You got Tom Izzo. You got Duke, Coach Cal, Coach K. You got so many different big-time coaches maybe involved in, hey, listen, these guys got screwed. Can we make this work? And that started the conversation. I just feel like there are a lot of big-time personalities involved in this, and I'm starting to wonder, will they get it done? Once again, I don't care if they do or don't. I don't care how they figure this out. I don't care the outcome. I just believe it sucks. Nobody wants this. Everybody's missing sports. Everybody loves March Madness. Everybody loves one shining moment. Everyone loves watching college sports and pro sports. We miss it already. It's a couple days in. We don't know how to handle ourselves. Maybe we're still in the shock mode. It's going to be a tough ride. We want to see it happen. Logistically and financially, it seems like a lot. It seems like it's just so much that needs to go down. And we're talking about a corporation that isn't the smoothest, isn't the strongest, doesn't really know how to work efficiently at the best of their ability. So to that reason, I think it would be a lot to just allow seniors to come back. There's too many question marks in other areas. It would open up too many holes in other spots. Good thing I'm not the commissioner. Because those seniors, they won't be having it. It sucks. It sucks. I feel bad for them. I wouldn't want it to go that way. But it just seems like that's the way it's got to go. We're talking about a global issue in the coronavirus. This isn't normal. It's very odd. Nobody knows what to do. So there you have it. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. And I will see you next time.